Okay, hello and Happy New Year 2026. Welcome back to the first episode of the year of The Spice on the Hill, a dedicated podcast for Dulwich Hamlet Women and the reserves, where we're bringing a lot of good vibes, friendly, informative, and a lot of spicy stuff with a kick. I'm your host, Johnny Hourigan, and this is episode number 4. I call it A New Year Spice Back with a Bang, in all caps. Just a bang bit. I know you're all thinking I was going to start on Monday, the 26th. However, it worked out better for this month for my super panel to come on a Tuesday instead. I hope everyone has made their New Year resolution, what they're hoping to do this year. And we'll check at the end to ask what their resolutions are. I didn't accomplish one of my resolutions that I went to America, and that was the city that doesn't sleep. Anyways, moving on to our new guest. Well, without further ado, let's introduce our first guest. Is a new player who's been with the club since the beginning of this season, who brings equality and has a contribution to women's football merchandising and marketing within the community. And that's what makes it beautiful. Please welcome Lauren Heria. Hello.
Thanks for having me, Johnny.
How are you, Lauren?
Yeah, good. All good. Just up in Manchester at the moment, but all is good.
Oh, lovely weather up there?
No, it never is.
No, it never is. And let's introduce our second guest. It's a family member and Lauren's sister, who is a great supporter at Champion Hill and keeping family in check with a good amount of quote-unquote sister support. Please welcome Emily.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you, Emily?
I'm good, thank you, Johnny. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How was Spain?
It was lovely, thank you. I ran a half marathon, and yeah, got back yesterday.
Not feeling too tired?
No, I'm feeling good, thank you.
Brilliant. And lastly, let's introduce our final guest. Our third and final guest is Lauren and Emily's friend and a colleague that Lauren knows very well and comes to Champion Hill whenever she can, that everybody watches women's football, is Laura. Hello.
Hi, Johnny. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
I'm very happy to have you on board, Laura.
Yeah, my voice is a bit croaky because we had our Christmas party last night,
All right.
and we were all singing karaoke. So, yeah, I've lost my voice to Sweet Caroline, unfortunately.
Oh, right. That's a good anthem for every England supporters listening out there.
It is.
So now we got our wonderful guest in the firing hot seats, literally sitting metaphorically, literally sitting right there. So we're exploring the two different halves, pun intended, to look at how Lauren began her footballing journey, asking Emily and Laura how significant the impact that they made on Lauren's life. How do they all balance all work in order to preserve and to enjoy football? And if it wasn't for football, hasn't touched for the lives of everyone, what everyone will be doing right now. So we are live on Mixler. So my apologies for everyone. I got the link mixed up, so blame me because I did not see that one coming, but I will learn that for next time for that.
I'm sure
So we're live. So when you're going to ask Lauren, Emily, and or Laura or myself anything you want to ask. And I have got the questions forwarded to some people who have forwarded to me, which I'll have read as soon as I can. If you want to have a listen back to this episode on whatever device you're listening, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or whichever suitable apps for you to listen, along with the free episodes if you have caught up already, or it's your first time listening. So you can listen to this and then listen to the others while you're at it. And now let's begin with the first half right after this advert. So hello and welcome to the first half. As the whistle blows, now we can explore how our lovely guests began their journey. So Lauren, what was your first memory of playing football and how did it make you want to step into the beautiful game?
I feel like I just always had a football at my feet as a kid. Like there's pics of me, I don't even know, like 2 or 3 years old with a football. Emily's only a year older than me, so like we grew up just, I feel we're not the iPad generation, so we grew up like outside playing lots of sport and all different stuff. And then when I would have been about 7 or 8 and Emily a year older, we joined a team called London Girls, and it was local to us. Like our dad called around basically like every grassroots team, trying to find out if they had a girls team, and London Girls did. So we went and we played there. So that was the first club I was a part of. But yeah, and I guess previous to that, we also did like the Crystal Palace and the community football sessions as well. So yeah, just lucky to get a lot of opportunities in football, and yeah, we both grew up playing it, and then obviously still playing it now. So.
So you always be like the one who loves the passion when you were growing up.
Yeah, like just love playing all sports. Like we both did running. Obviously, Emily's just done a half marathon now. We both did running growing up. I played rugby as well. So I think anything sporty like naturally would gravitate towards. And then yeah, we were lucky to have parents who were able to like drive us around and take us to sports probably most days after school. And then some Sundays when we weren't in the same age group, me and Emily, my dad would have to take Emily in the morning to play, then take me. So yeah, lots of time out of the house just playing sport really.
Interesting. Interesting. And if I can ask you, Emily, what was it like for you growing up with Lauren?
It was a lot of fun. She definitely, even though she's the younger sister, she definitely encouraged me to take part in sport, play football. She was the one that was always at the front of doing things and gave me a lot of confidence to take part myself. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And like Lauren said, we're only a year apart, so we could always play football kind of around the same friends. And yeah, it was great.
It's it's nice. It's nice to, have siblings, having their backs no matter what. Because, I got a sister who's a year older than me, and she always always there for me, along with my mum, who's like a second mum to most of us. And she's very, very disciplined, very good person who always like have my back, have my mum's back, and obviously she's got her fiance always like keeping each other's arm's length. In sports they love to watch, and although she used to play rugby, touch rugby when she was at uni, and then but until opportunities for her gradually move on to life takes you wherever, whether sports or maybe move on to like, something to keep you occupied in the world. You have to like keep it together. But my sister has been there for me. And then I hope, you and Lauren have each other's back no matter what.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can meet your sister at Champion Hill one day.
Well, that'll be the next step to do because,
Yeah.
she is um she has known that I like women's football, but she has looked at it and hopefully she might come, one day.
Yeah, one day.
That'd be cool.
And Laura, how did you first met Lauren and Emily?
Yeah, so Lauren and I met at work. So I work for a company called Foudys. We are the only women's licensed football merchandiser globally. And the sibling connection continues because I actually work for my sister. It's her business and she founded it. Yeah, so there's a lot of sibling connections everywhere. And Lauren started working for Foudys in 2024, December 2024, on the mystery box campaign, so our biggest campaign that we do annually. And you did it while you were in Spain playing for La Solana in Lanzarote, so kind of playing football professionally and trying to do as much for Foudys. And then when Lauren came back to the UK in May of last year, she came on board doing more work for us, and so we got to know each other a bit better. And then I was fortunate enough to be at the Champions League final in Lisbon in May 2025, so last May. And Emily and Lauren were also there, and we had a really nice weekend in Lisbon together, watching Arsenal obviously win the Champions League. We had loads of drinks and pizzas on the night out, and it was really good fun. So yeah, and then I suppose like now obviously I'm a regular at Champion Hill watching Lauren and the rest of the team do really, really well. So yeah, that's how we first met, wasn't it?
Well, that's a small world with, you met Lauren when she started working for Foudys, which I think I had a look online, what Foudy is that named after someone?
Yeah, so Foudys is named after Julie Foudy, who played for the US women's national team. The US women's national team, and she won the 1999 Women's World Cup with obviously the USA, but she went on to campaign for scholarships for women and girls in universities in America and equal kind of access to sport through university scholarships. So not only was she an incredible sports woman, but she also did a lot of campaigning around the sport as well. And Helen, my sister and our founder and CEO, really kind of loved her story and what she's done for sport and women and girls. And so she named her business Foudys after her. But Julie didn't know that Helen had named her business Foudys. So a couple of years ago, she met Julie in LA, and thankfully Julie was very supportive. So she's now an ambassador and shareholder in the business as well. So yeah, a big full circle moment.
Wow, that is very interesting. To have a dedicated women's manufacturing company to manufacture the Pacific for the women's football fans out there. And I was going to ask that follow-up question to Lauren, but I knew that really you have beat me to the chase. So I like to know about your roles, like what you do, like for you and Laura at Foudys.
Yeah, so I'm Chief Marketing Officer, so I look after all of our marketing, which is a big task. We're obviously a growing business, and like any growing business, you have to make sure you're out there as much as possible. It involves a whole range of different things from campaigns. So when we're launching a new shirt, be it like the Arsenal shirt or the Chelsea shirt, how are we going to tell that story in a way that really resonates with the women's football audience? And clubs have got better at doing it now. Like they speak a lot better to that audience, but there's still a lot to be done. And I think we have a really unique voice in that space. Over the summer, I was obviously part of the team down at Style of Our Own on Regent Street, which you came to, Johnny. So when we had the storefront, marketing that, getting people through the door. And then there's also opportunities to work with like different athletes as well. So it's exciting, it's fast paced, but yeah, really enjoy it. And Laura?
Yeah, and my role is not as exciting as Lauren's. I'm the operations director. So it's my job to make sure that if people order a football shirt online, then it gets to them in a timely manner. But we're a really small business, Johnny. So while we're growing and we're really kind of like taking over the market from like we're the only sports retailer that only covers women's football. So during, the Women's World Cup, you might go onto other retailers' websites and they have like Erling Haaland or, other male footballers like front and center. We always only focus on women's football players. But we're growing and we're growing quickly, but there's only a really small team of us. So we often have to wear loads of different hats. And it's a lot of hard work, but that's why I love it, because it really keeps you on your toes and there's never ever a dull moment. So yeah.
And we had like a lot of the team, what was about 5 of you guys down at the game last weekend or watching Champion Hill. So they were all there like making content as well. So it's a really like fun group to be around and be a part of. And yeah, Dulwich is quickly becoming all of their favourite club as well.
Yeah, I even had Dulwich nails for the beginning of last season, for the opening game of the season. I've now got London City Lionesses nails because I was at their game. Yeah, at the weekend. But I did have Dulwich Hamlet nails at the beginning of the season.
Well, I mean, I was going to say that, I went to the pop-up shop in by Oxford Street, and it was on the final day before it was all boxed up and everything closed off, because that was only for that temporal leasing, was it?
Yeah, it was just for summer. So there was like 25 different female-owned sports brands in there. And yeah, just trying to create a space where women's sports fans and players felt seen, could access products that supported them, that were unique to them. And it was a great success. And obviously when you were down, Johnny, you got to hold the FA Cup as well, under strict instruction. I don't know if we're actually allowed to say that. Man was like, be careful you put this photo and like, don't hold it like this, don't move your hands.
Yeah.
We were like, okay. Because it was like the actual FA Cup. It was crazy.
Yeah, I must remind myself to post on Instagram saying when you mentioned about the FA Cup, that's me doing like, ooh.
I love it.
But it's very interesting, way you put it out. It's like you got the niche of the market in women's football is still growing, and your company is one of the first, or maybe like one of the first, to put out of Pacific women's manufacturing specifics for all fans. I mean, I know I got the socks from you, Lauren, as a thank you, which I still wear it to this day whenever I see you playing. Oh.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm gonna ask Emily, another question is, I know your sister works in the field on the pitch. Do you work in a similar pitch?
No, I don't. I work for the railway in infrastructure projects, so building new train stations, renewing the railway infrastructure. So yeah, completely different. But it's Monday to Friday, so I get time to go to football on the weekends and support Lauren.
So you work for Network Rail.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God, it's not one of those railway companies that's apparently the worst. Like, have you ever heard of the Avanti West Coast?
Oh.
I love getting that train to Manchester.
Well, are they right there with you?
I love it. But yeah, I work for Network Rail. It's a big company, 35, I think, plus thousand people work there. So complete opposite to Foudys, really a big national company. But yes, it's very fun to work there. And they have a lot of fun projects to get involved in.
And what did you like when you were working with Network Rail? What's the best things you love working on the trains?
I just like that it helps people get around. It's providing a service to, everyone in the country. And it's really fun that it connects the whole country. And has a lot of different roles for you to do. You can do lots of different jobs in one organization. So yeah, it's good from that perspective.
You worked on the project that was by Tottenham Hotspur's new stadium, right?
Yeah, one of the stations there. So that was really fun. We got to go around the stadium when it was being built. Yeah, it's cool that you get to provide a service to communities and meet people and learn how the railway impacts their life and how you can help them.
And Emily, what's your highlight of when you were working What was the highlight that you liked the most about?
Um, there's lots of things. I think uh, when we opened a brand new station, Meridian Water, in London, that was really fun. That was the first big project I ever worked on. So I really enjoyed that because, yeah, it was a brand new train station. It was really big, and did a lot to kind of unlock that part of London. And they're building houses there now next to the station. So there's a lot of new housing coming from that. So yeah, that was really fun.
You should bob into this guy called Jeff Marshall. He's really a train enthusiast on YouTube.
Okay, I'll have a look.
He's a enthusiast on like, tube trains, tube stations. He looks at national rail stations as well. I
Mhm.
often watch it along with my mum because, she likes watching Jeff Marshall as well.
Mhm. Oh, cool. I'll
So
check it out.
so if you check him out, invite him for another brand new train station
Yeah.
event day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do sometimes work with I guess I don't know what railway influence, I don't know what the right word is, but people that produce content about the railway, we do often work with them and show them parts that they come to our signal boxes and stuff like that. And yeah, so we can help people learn more about the railway. So yeah, I'll check it out.
You check it out. And I've got two questions for you, Lauren. Now, I
Hmm.
remember in the episode 2 when Aaron said about that time when everyone wore the shirts in the match against Swindon Town that says
Hmm.
equal FA Cup, like Lewis,
Yes.
which you're familiar with, aren't you?
Hmm.
Best known for highlighting the injustice that the FA prizes, how they give up to the women's FA Cup winners and losers of each round compared to the men's FA Cup prizes that's astronomically higher.
Hmm.
How did you feel about getting the players and some clubs like Dulwich to represent the injustice of the FA Cup prize money, which is still imbalanced, despite how
Yeah.
women's football is increasingly getting popular over the last 10 years, and whether the FA will have closed the gap?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I first got involved in the campaign when I was at Lewis. So the team we made the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. The campaign was happening before that. It's been going on for quite a few years, and it was a really strong campaign in what it was asking for and the data behind it and how this could be worked and this could be implemented. Um, but me and Maggie Murphy was there at the time. We spoke with the captain Rianne. And I think the thing that maybe hadn't been done as much before was that player voice and getting the players to tell this story. Because ultimately, whatever level you're at, the money coming into the club affects the players in the greatest way in some ways because it provides everything from like the pitches you train on to if you're lucky enough to be paid or um, the level of physio support you can get. And ultimately, when you look at the men's game, the FA Cup brings really vital funds into teams up and down the pyramid. And in the women's game, it just wasn't the same. The year previous to that, there was a team that got to like the third round for the first time and was fundraising to pay for a coach to cover the travel because what they were winning in the competition didn't even cover the costs associated with competing in it. And we
Hmm.
were like, this just has to change. So we got together at Lewis as players. We wrote an open letter to Karen Carney because she was heading up the governmental review into women's football. And basically just told our perspective of like how much this competition means to us, how much the sport means to us, and the reality on the ground, and how impactful this money could be coming into a club, but also the signal it sends to the country around equality in football. And we got thousands of signatures. We ended up in like every major newspaper. And then in the end, we met with the DCMS and spoke to them. And there were like nuances that I was learning about going through it, which I didn't even know. For example, Lewis become the TV pick, which meant that we actually had to take some of the sponsorship around the pitch off because it was a BBC. The BBC got the sponsor spaces. So not only were we not making significant money through the competition, by being the TV pick, you made less money than you would have before. And when we were speaking to the DCMS about this, they were like, okay, we actually didn't know that. So it was just an area that I don't think people were looking at and talking about enough. And then after we campaigned that year, there was a massive increase in prize money. I think it was a doubling. So that's the last massive increase that there was. And you know, if you spoke to the FA, perhaps I'd say, you know, it was always in the works and the campaign didn't do anything. But I do think it did something. And the fact that the campaign's still ongoing is testament to the players' strength and passion around this issue, and also testament to the lack of progress in this space. So when I come to Dulwich, I know the club had been involved previously with Lewis as well on the campaign. So it was the easiest conversation ever. Just I put something in the WhatsApp group, said, look, this is why I'm involved and this is why I think you should do it. And the players were like, yeah, 100%. Obviously, the big disappointment was we didn't progress in the competition because it is a competition I love, and we want to do well on the pitch. And then the better you do, the bigger the platform. So definitely next year, priority number one is getting further in the competition. And if we're still in the same place where there's no commitment on when prize money will be equalled, then yeah, we'll be campaigning again.
Yeah. And you know, when you said that, I think this might be a good time to do the follow-up question just before the time runs out. Well, this follow-up question from Max7G said, what do the players think about the unfairness of pay rates in women's football, the attitude of some women not even that women's football is not equal to men's football in this modern age?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, Johnny, I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
So I'll try and keep it brief. And like, I'm sure Laura and Emily would love to like weigh in on it also, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah, like we are seeing progress, but it's not enough. And even certain groups of women are further, like I think to look at it as just women, sort of women experience is one thing, but you need to break it down by different demographics in that group and understand how different women can access football, and then how do we work across the board to level up everyone so it's at a place where players at the top level have the support they need, and throughout the pyramid you're getting the support and respect you need and deserve. And I think with football it mirrors society. Like you look in any job, any walk of life, and women are paid less than men. So it's a battle that as a woman you're fighting daily, and football's no exception.
I mean, Lauren, you know what you said about the way there's still progress, but I think we can be here for hours to, you know, to talk to anyone the higher ups at the FA to get everyone to be on board. But I think it's a long way to, you know, to close the gap until when the FA decides to bridge it, depending on like whatever, like was it sponsorships or some say it could be the attendance of how many people turn up, but I don't really think that really mattered about it. I just think it's about giving in the allocation to participants who turned up every round. Whoever progresses should receive a bit more than what the men's get, like much bigger.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, right? The gap is so big, and like outwardly, the FA have said we have a long-term intention to equal the prize money, but they've not put out a roadmap to get towards it. And I don't think anyone is saying, well, look, I'd love it to be equaled next year, but like you say, there are challenges in that logistically. And if that's not possible, then when and how are we going to get there? I think that's the big question for me. And there's other sports have done it. Like, yeah, obviously tennis is all equal prize money. It can happen, and it is happening. So the FA just kind of needs to get with the picture on it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the USA, for example, and Ireland, like Republic of Ireland. They got both, you know, the teams with equal amount of wages they get. I mean, is most countries are far behind, and also the question is for some clubs, unlike Lewis, the only other club who who get equal amount of wages because of the way the men's division is somewhere lower, and the women's team who are in the National League South at the moment get the similar amount of wages. I mean, some clubs are a long way off, but do you think that the gap might close soon for most people?
I think, yeah, like the more money comes into the game, the more the more there's available for wages, and we're obviously seeing like record-breaking signings every year in the women's game, so it's going in the right direction. But I think like one thing that really sticks with me, I think it reinforces to me to make sure, like, as a player, I use my voice and encourage other players to do the same, is like the women, like US women's national team, for a long time are being paid less than the men, despite being more successful, bringing in more revenue, higher gate receipts, everything. And they obviously went to court over it and won. So I think just sometimes, like, things aren't a given, and everyone in any position, any walk of life, has their unconscious biases, their prejudice, whether they know it or not. Like, you've grown up in a society that is ultimately built for men. So it can be actually, you know, people don't want to invest, and there's a reason for that, or maybe actually it's just not been explored and understood. So I think it's really important to have conversations and, like, educate people and, yeah, be open about it. And, like, I would say that's, like, probably one of the most proudest things I've done in my career in whatever club I've been in. I've always used my voice, and I'll always use it to try and, like, lift up the women's football game as a whole. And that's what I try and do at Foudys as well. And there's loads of players like me in the game, and the more they're empowered, encouraged to do it by their clubs, and clubs like Lewis, clubs like Dulwich do empower their players to use their voices, the quicker change will come about.
And you know, Lauren, you know, for the love of football you love, and you always, like, you know, speak up on or off the pitch. If it wasn't for football you fell in love with, I don't know what you'd be doing right now.
I actually don't know. What would I be doing if it wasn't football? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I took a break actually from football when I was like 16 to 18, because I just fell out of love with the game a little bit. And at that time, there wasn't really many opportunities to play professionally. I was at Charlton's Academy, and it just ended after under 16s. You had to go into the women's team. And I was still really little. I wouldn't have really been able to compete at that level. And yeah, I didn't really know what options there were to me. So I stopped playing altogether and then come back to football at university. So I went and studied a politics degree. And then when I was there, I played football, and then ran to be sports officer and was the sports officer of the university. So that's how I came into work in sport as well. So yeah, I like the thought of not playing football. Obviously I did it for that period there, but just gravitated straight back to it because it felt like there was something missing. But yeah, I don't know, I've got a politics degree, so maybe I'll be a politician. Maybe I'll be Prime Minister.
Well, you could be the better Prime Minister than the current crop up.
Thanks. I'll take your vote, Johnny.
And Emily and Laura, would you felt the same if it hasn't for Lauren, who made the touch about football? I think you would have saw it differently.
Definitely, I think. We love football growing up, and playing football was a big part of our lives. And I think, yeah, if Lauren wasn't so into it, I definitely wouldn't be. 100%. It's definitely shaped our lives for sure.
And Laura?
Yeah, I suppose I grew up watching football with my dad. So unlike Emily and Lauren, I absolutely cannot kick a ball. I am in no way, shape or form a player. But I excel at spectating. So I've always loved football, and it was my love of football that brought me to Lauren and Emily, and ultimately to Champion Hill. So I think it's more rather than Lauren leading me to football, I think it was football leading me to Lauren. I like that.
And if it wasn't for that, I don't think you would have anyone like to spread the word.
Yeah.
And your dad is like a Dulwich fan by coincidence as well, right?
Yeah, so my dad, when he was a boy, he ran a fantasy league. So we're from Newcastle, I'm a Geordie, and he ran a fantasy league on his street. So all the boys on the street played tiptoe, and they all had a different team. And my dad played as Dulwich Hamlet. I only found this out a few weeks ago. And when I asked him why he played as Dulwich Hamlet, he said because he just loved the fact that there's a football team with the word Hamlet in it. So Yeah.
Well,
Love
it is a small world that we found out when one person plays, and you found out there was history behind it that you didn't know was right under your noses.
There you go. So I have to get Michael Hardy down to Champion Hill soon. He got a scarf for Christmas, a Dulwich Hamlet scarf for Christmas.
He's ready.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the first half. And well, actually, I will ask some of the questions that people have asked. Probably in the end, probably it's more better. So we'll begin the
Okay.
second half right away after this advert. And hello, and welcome back to part two. And the second half, as the whistle blows for the final time, we'll look at the recent results that Dulwich have played. 2 out of 3, I'll explain later, have been played. So the first team results as follows, that are Millwall Lionesses in the Capital Senior Cup at home, winning on the first game back with a bang with 4-0. And just recently, 2 days ago, they played in another thrilling derby against Fulham away at Motzer Park with a 2-2 draw. Almost got away with a win, but Fulham pegged back a consolation before full time. The Cheshunt away game that I mentioned was meant to be played on the 4th of January before got postponed due to the frozen pitch, but it's now rescheduled for Sunday the 1st of February. I'll explain that later on. Now, the first team at the moment right now, since playing 1 league game, they're currently 10th place with 3 wins, 2 draws, and 8 losses. Lauren, how did you and everyone feel about, after the 2-week break when you all came back? Tired, cold, or feeling spicy?
Feeling spicy. Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Like, I think there's a really nice energy in the group. We've got some new players in who are bringing a lot on the pitch, but also off the pitch, like really good characters to have around the group. And yeah, there's just a real level of positivity and determination. So yeah.
And Emily and Laura, did you all miss Lauren playing and already missing Champion Hill?
Yeah, I think, well, I missed over the Christmas break, I definitely missed going down to Champion Hill and the vibes there. But I think the break was really, really good for the team, and you can see there's just a totally different energy and like some really, really great and positive results following the Christmas break. So yeah, I think overall really positive.
And Emily?
Yeah, I agree. Looking forward to getting back there because, like Laura said, it's a really fun vibe. I love the crowd, I love all the dogs, and all the fun stuff going on there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back.
And the gift shop, Emily. Emily's a big fan of the gift shop.
Yeah, all the beanie hats and scarves. I love it.
Yeah. So speaking of Champion Hill, the first game back at home started with a bang in all caps against Millwall Lionesses. Lauren, what was that feeling scoring the first goal of the year and assisted one as well?
Yeah, it felt really, really good. Like, definitely as a player, I like to assist and score. So it's always nice when you get to do that. And yeah, like, it was just a really positive performance all around from the team. Felt like things were clicking and gelling. And honestly, like, I feel like we left the pitch disappointed we didn't score more. So I think that's like testament to how we performed and like the expectations we're setting for ourselves.
And Laura, you were at the game. How did you and everyone from Foudys were rooting for Lauren as well as everybody at the club to get the first win of the year? Excited, happy, or an 11 out of 10 beyond the scales?
11 out of 10 beyond the scale. I think
I knew it.
yeah, I think it was massive, right? I think starting the year off as we mean to go on with a big win, and we love to see Lauren do well on the pitch and the rest of the team. And it was really great for a few people from Foudys to be down at Champion Hill and watch Lauren score. And yeah, watch the rest of the team like put in a real solid performance against, I think, what were quite tough opposition, really. I think like the scoreline probably made it look slightly easier than it was in all reality. But yeah, it was brilliant performance all around. Great day out.
Yeah,
sister
I had
did
a
say
great.
she was going to sing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning" at me if I didn't play well. She was like, "Imagine looking over and your bosses started the whole crowd singing that." I was like, "Okay, good job I played well, eh?"
Who's saying sack in the morning?
Yeah, her sister, my boss, said she was going to start the crowd singing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning" if I didn't play well.
Oh.
I know. She's
No.
savage, Johnny.
She is savage.
Fortunately, she was only joking.
Of course. And Emily, did you miss the Champion Hill?
Yeah, I missed that game. I also support Bromley FC, their men's team, well, their women's team as well, but I follow their men's team quite closely. So I was away in Chesterfield that weekend at a different football match. So yeah, sad to miss it, but was so excited to see the score, the goal from Lauren, all the highlights afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from one derby to another, our spicy friends drew 2-2 against Fulham at Mossop Park. And to be honest, this was very, very difficult at first when Fulham were leading by the goal deficit right up until half time. But then in the second half, Dulwich turned up the heat and nearly got away with the win, almost, until Fulham equalised. But I think someone said it was 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But however, it didn't stop everyone from, like continuing on, like you, Lauren, fighting without, thinking it's all lost on hope. And how do you and everyone feel about, when you're a goal down, and then afterwards to produce some momentum of climbing back up?
Yeah, I think Richie gave us a really good halftime team talk, and he can be stern with us, and it's probably one of the times he was a bit more direct and just said it as it is and told us like we had a lot more levels in us, and ultimately we were playing a bit scared on the ball. Like out of possession we were doing our jobs, but on the ball we weren't playing with confidence. And he was like, look, you're better players than them, you're giving them too much respect, you need to believe in yourselves, you need to trust yourselves. And I think that just was the spur we needed. We're like, yeah, we're still very much in this game. And yeah, he's right. We haven't been at our best in that first half. So let's go out, chuck everything at it, put in the best performance we possibly can, and we'll come away with something here. And then, yeah, ultimately, I can't speak for the other girls. I think they probably feel the same. Like, disappointed not to take all 3 points. I think it was within our grasp. And ultimately, their goal come from a few defensive errors from us. And they're a great side, but it would have been really, really nice to be the team that gave them their first defeat. But that being said, it's a really positive point to take on the road, especially given where we are in the season and the table.
Yeah. And Laura, what was your reaction when you saw the second half after half time? So incredibly brilliant, despite ended it all square.
Yeah, I think like Lauren's free kick into the box to take it from 1-1 to 2-1 was incredible. And then there were some incredible crosses, like really good defensive work from the team as well. Like, I think like it says a lot about the progression of the squad and the team, that from the end of last year to the beginning of this, that you can be disappointed leaving Martford Park with a draw against Fulham, who are obviously top of the table. And I think it says a lot about where the mentality of the team are and what the rest of the season looks like. And I have like high hopes based on that performance that I think the team will go on and get a lot more points this half of the season and finish really strong. So I loved it. And also, I was sat in the stand. I think I was near you, Johnny, actually, and I started to learn some of the words of the songs.
Hey.
So I feel like I'm becoming a better supporter because of that game as well.
Well, that was a really nice day, and Emily really wish you were there, but I know you were away. But when you saw the results or you seen the updates, what was your reaction of that?
I was so excited. I was refreshing the live updates on the Dulwich website, the minutes, and like praying. When I saw we were 2-1 ahead, I was praying that it would stay that way. Obviously, we conceded the late goal, but I was so pleased for the girls to see, such a good result against a really strong team. Like I think Fulham were 11 wins and 1 draw all season. So to be only their second draw and to really uh, hold our own and, at some points looked like we were going to win was just so exciting. And yeah, I'm really excited for the rest of the season off the back of seeing how well we did against Fulham.
Yeah, it was sick to have so many fans there as well, and like the reserves girls there, and it definitely made a difference on the pitch. Like everyone was really loud, and it was like, yeah, it was just like, okay, we got to do something.
Well, I understand there's a long-standing rivalry between Dulwich and Fulham, but actually, I first became aware of it when I first started coming to Champion Hill nearly 2 years ago, when I first heard Dulwich through Fulham through the listings of the fixtures before, fully understanding about what was this all about. When everything became clearer about when Dulwich at the time were pushing for the promotion, and then a year later when Fulham started to step up as well. Moving up the level brings a lot of new challenges, adapting to intensity, meeting licensing requirements, and managing financial and administrative side of it. Because, without it, you can't go up. Fulham went full-time professional as far as I'm aware, which I might have heard of online somewhere, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I know because of the resources being, they're affiliated with the Premier League club. So they have got some resources basically, playing at Mossa Park is their home field advantage. I mean,
Yeah.
they are undefeated so far in the National League since after when they won the promotion and stayed undefeated throughout the year. And there are familiar faces too, like this person called Maddie Power Parison, or commonly known as the Moose. Maddie, if you're listening, I hope you're liking what I'm talking about right here. Who spent 2 years with Dulwich, and to be honest, I didn't knew she played for Dulwich until I looked up online afterwards. Whom joined Fulham, I think for the last 2 years now, and continue to be the key player for the Whites. But the rivalry brings already bringing the extra edge and significance to these games. Lauren, do you feel Dulwich are fully ready now between this moment and every game until the end of the season with the clarity and focus with the team, what they really want to accomplish?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the goal is win every game. Like Richie says, as a group, we're capable of doing that, and we all believe that. So yeah, look, we want to win every game. Like obviously, I said it in the program for my little bit where I write it, the little player profile. Like going undefeated is like to me the bare minimum. Like I want to go undefeated every game, and yeah, like I think that's more than possible, and I think it's more than possible we can win every game in the league. From here on out. And obviously the Capital Cup is exciting too, so hopefully get a trophy. But yeah, definitely everyone's in the right space.
As you know, one of the things I noticed is that how everyone, especially the new players who joined, like Zainab and the Brazilian twins, Maria and Eduarda, have all looked more or less as you can describe, Lauren, rejuvenated and refreshing than how the beginning of the season that everyone started.
Yeah.
Now, Richie have gave you a bit of Irish tough luck since he
Yeah, we get a lot of
stepped in, or did you all push yourself together?
um, I think it's a mix. Like I think as a group, like we all try and like drive standards in every training session, in the match. I think as a group, and I've been in a fair few teams, like the thing that stands out to me about this team, I think it has a real good level of like emotional intelligence and players that want to adapt how they talk to people to get the best out of that player, and they want to help everybody be the best version of them on the pitch, off the pitch, and are like committed to that. And I think that's like a really beautiful thing about Dulwich, and I've not experienced that anywhere else. So there's always that. And I think when Richie does come in, he has to lay it down and be tough and remind us how good we are and remind us what we should be doing. Then you've got the other players that are gonna, put an arm around whatever player and be like, come on, like you can do this. So it's like a really nice balance of tough love when we need to hear it, a really supportive group. And ultimately, yeah, Richie's been fantastic. And I think he really does understand us as players and people. And he'll say the thing you need to hear to get the best performance out of you. And yeah, he's getting it right. So it's really, really good to be around.
And Emily and Laura, how do you both feel about the team, including Lauren, of how they're currently doing right now since after started again this year compared to the beginning?
I feel like there's a really great energy, and the team seems really ambitious and yeah, like keen to do well and have fun and play with like a bit of flair. So yeah, it's fun to watch as well. So I'm excited.
Laura?
Yeah, I agree with what Lauren and Emily have said. And also the point that you touched on, Johnny, there's obviously a couple of new players in there and a bit more squad depth. And I think a bit of competition over places is healthy at any level of football. And I think you can see, ever since I started watching Dulwich at the beginning of the season, the players always turned up for every game with a high standard of professionalism, and really showing that they wanted to perform well. But I think that competition adds an extra one in there, doesn't it? So I think it's really good. I feel really confident about the rest of the season. And yeah, I can't wait to see many more wins at Champion Hill.
Yeah.
Yes, speaking of competitions, we have talked about 2 games that's been done. Now we can look into the following games in February as follows. Now, they got the rescheduled game against Chester United on the 1st of February at Chesham. Then returning back home at Champion Hill against Cambridge United on the 8th of February. That's league games, by the way. And then the week after that, it's Tottenham Hotspur Women's Academy in the quarterfinals of the Capital Senior Cup, 15th of February. And then followed by a couple of days later against Cheltenham Town in the league on the 18th of February. And then finally, all the way in Barnet against the London Bees on the 22nd of February. Now, Lauren, I know in the previous episodes that I have asked which one of the games had caught your eye the most, but do you think all of them are important matches to go in full throttle, or do you take one step at a time?
Yeah, I think it's always got to be game by game. And obviously for each game, we're going to change up what we're doing. And like Laura said, there's a really big squad as well. So, we have that ability now to change stuff up. So it's always important to look at it as like one game at a time. But yeah, they're all important. Like obviously where we're sat in the league, we just need to pick up as many points as possible. And I think it's really good when you can go on a bit of a run of being undefeated. Obviously, we've got 3 games now with Richie undefeated since he's taken over. So the longer we can keep that going, and obviously I want it to keep going forever, ideally. I think you just gain momentum and it will start to build with each game. And like we've already said, there's a lot of new players in, so they're only going to get more comfortable, more confident. So yeah, it's exciting on the fixtures for sure, and it's nice to have that bit of difference with the cup matches as well, which will obviously be interesting. So we've got a couple Spurs players with us in the squad, so yeah, that'll be a fun one for sure.
And Emily and Laura, which one of the games has really caught your eye the most?
I think London Bees.
Yes, I think
Yeah, I want to see us take a win against London Bees. Obviously had a bit of a rough pre-season with them, so yeah, but I'm confident again. No one scares us, Johnny.
That's very true. Yeah.
That's very true. Finally, the Spicy Reserves, as you know, have returned with 2 games as follows. They've only played against Soccer Elite Football Academy with a 6-0 win away followed by Greenwich Borough in the Capital Intermediate Cup at home with a 3-1 win. Well, their game against the same opponent in the league was postponed due to waterlogged pitch on the same day as the first team playing against Fulham, which is subject to reschedule into due course. But they do have the upcoming matches as follows. They got Ashford United at home on the 8th of February, and followed by Ashmount Lee in the Capital Intermediate Cup quarterfinals away on the 15th of February. And Lauren, have you been to one of the reserves games, or are you thinking about going to see them?
Yeah, like obviously a lot of their games clash when we play, so it's not always possible to get down there. But when they've had some of the evening games and we've been able to go before training or after training, yeah, we've been down there. And like I think again, just like a really strong atmosphere from the fans, which is really cool. It was one game. It was a Wednesday night. It was tipping it down with rain, and the girls won. I come back over just as I can't remember who scored it. Scored an absolute wonder goal. It was like crazy. And yeah, really like comfortable win for the team. And yeah, it was a really good experience. So definitely want to get down there more.
And Laura and Emily, do you two feel like you want to watch the reserves whenever you get a chance?
Yeah, I'd love to go to a reserves game. Unfortunately, I haven't made one yet. I live in Manchester, so it's a lot of traveling anyway. But and because of work, I often have to go and watch other teams playing all sorts of different leagues. I say I have to. It's obviously a massive perk of the job watching football often. But yeah, definitely the reserves team are on the list. So I'd love to go and see them play.
Okay. And Emily?
Yeah, same. Definitely would love to. I love Dulwich as a club. Hoping to see the reserves play and the men play as well would be great. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to get down there a lot more.
It would be cool to watch a game with you as well and be there. Because like obviously you guys will watch the game and I come back and you're like, oh, this happened and this happened and we got our gyros and this and this and that. And it's like, oh, like obviously I'd rather be playing. I love playing, but I'm like, this sounds fun. So
Yeah.
it'll be cool to chill with you guys.
Last thing I want to ask you all is this. Lastly, Britt and Lucy once said in the last episode before Christmas is that New Year resolution for this year is to get more points. Do you think that we will? Yes or no?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, after the most recent performances, I have no doubt.
Emily?
You said it all.
I thought you're like, I'm not so sure.
There's a long pause there.
Oh yeah. And what are your New Year resolutions that you all made for this year in one sentence?
Oh, can't remember when I wrote them down.
I really want to pick up park run again, Johnny. So I used to do a bit more running than I have recently. So one of my New Year's resolutions was to pick up doing park run again when I'm in or near a park run.
Nice.
Right.
I wanted them to drive.
I'll do that one too.
Yeah, I did say that in the my New Year resolution is to keep watching you guys play, but also I thought of another thing.
Okay.
I really want to start the fanzine, really, as I promised. I tried to get off the ground earlier that time, but Pamela, well, it hasn't gone off, but I'm really hoping I'm going to try that again.
Yeah,
That sounds really cool.
it's a good one.
But by asking you guys, you have to contribute.
Nice.
Okay,
I'll try my best.
You can make up the stories as long as you go.
Okay.
And last, I got to some questions just for, I think maybe for you, Lauren, is my friend of mine wanted me to ask you this question, is that, obviously we have asked what made you got into football, but if you were to ask or if someone asks you what would be advice to aspiring young footballers who want to be to play football, what would be your advice would be?
It's a good question. I feel like ultimately, and everyone says it, but like enjoy it and love it. And I think now with the way like the women's academy system's going, there's like a lot of pressure on parents if you've got a talented footballer to put them into an academy. And that might be the right choice for some players, but it might not be the right one for others. And I think at a young age, the most important thing is being happy and confident and enjoying where you're playing. The other thing, and we were speaking about this the other day, like as a kid playing football, I moved around positions quite a lot. So I started out as a striker. I played centre midfield. I played on the wing. I played fullback, and that was kind of the case throughout like most of my time growing up at Charlton Academy. And at the time, I was like, this is so frustrating, but it's made me a lot better footballer. So I think when you get them opportunities to change positions and try new things, just like embrace it with open arms and go for it. So yeah, I think they're probably like my two biggest bits of advice, and I would encourage like any girl to get into sport, whether it's football, rugby, whatever. Like even if you don't want to become a professional in that sport, get involved, play, because it just develops you so much as a person and a leader. And I think like me and Emily will say a lot about how much football developed us and sport developed us, and there's a whole ton of research about women who are CEOs and in positions of power, and like an incredibly large percentage grew up playing sport, like around 90% plus. So it just develops so many great skills for you. So just give it a go, get involved, and find somewhere you feel happy.
I'd also add as well, I think like sport, team sport, transcends like language barrier or cultural barriers. And it doesn't matter where you end up in life, whether you go to university or you work abroad or you work in large organizations, you'll always find a network of people if you play a team sport. So not everybody's going to be the next Leah Williamson, and that's okay. But just get involved and enjoy it, as Lauren says.
And Emily, do you agree what Lauren and Laura says?
Completely, and like we spoke earlier, that I work in a completely different industry to sport.
Yeah.
But everything I learned playing sport growing up has helped me throughout my life professionally, built my confidence, built my leadership skills, communication skills. It's so important. So yeah, 100% agree with what Lauren said and Laura.
Well, even if, people might not, think exactly advice, no matter where in the fields everywhere works. But I think, the one thing in common is that whatever people, really get into advice they love, or what inspirations they want to be, whether it could be on the pitch, on the rails, you got to start somewhere, like, to think how would people will understand what it would be like once you start with the real hard work.
Yeah, completely. I totally agree, Johnny.
And Emily, do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think sport links to so many parts of life and prepares you for a lot of things, gives you a lot of resilience as well and determination.
Very true.
And the last question is this: will everyone at Dulwich Hamlet would be watching the World Cup this year in USA, Canada, Mexico, regardless what's happening out there about? Well, I love to answer this part, but I don't want to get myself in trouble. But I just want to ask you, like, you still be watching the World Cup?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think, I think the footballing bodies have a lot of work to do to consider where and why they're putting tournaments in certain parts of the world. Like, the previous Men's World Cup was obviously in Qatar, and they've spoken about the future Women's World Cup being in Qatar. And I think there's, football, we speak about football being for everybody, but if player safety and participant safety and the nationals of that country aren't safe either, then perhaps like there needs to be wider thought process around where and why which nation is hosting the World Cup.
Yeah, I'll completely agree with that.
Especially you don't want to mention about Donny.
No.
Yeah, less said about him, but we don't need to feed that ego, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even if you're gonna watch the World Cup, especially, if, like how people view about how this is happening with, people who may not like what Donny says about visitors coming, especially his stance on Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, for myself, I just think it'd be a very like an extreme difficult World Cup. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at the future World Cups that the Women's World Cup's got looking forward to coming up. Like in 2031 will be in America again, but with the same format. But I think it's going to be very dangerous. To be honest, let me ask you this. Do you think people will feel safe? Or like do people will view differently, like how people will view of going there? It's like, it's a dream, it's an opportunity for people to come from all over. But unless, people may not feel safe to go there for now, especially what is happening,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very, hard to say because, as much as, I love to watch football,
Mm-hmm.
but I may not want to comment about what Donny has said about visitors coming over and what he said about Mexico building a wall. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
why is happening in there in the first place until we realize it's too late because it's already happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the fact we're sat here having these conversations ahead of this World Cup and like similarly, Laura said, like with Qatar, rightly so, lots of conversations of similar vein around like the appropriateness of the tournament being there. Like something has to change at FIFA in terms of how they select the countries that host, because a World Cup should be a celebration of football and it should be a moment that all countries feel equal in, all fans feel equal and safe and able to attend and enjoy football. And it's just that's not the case. So definitely it's something that needs to be looked at. And yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw something online about years back about the Women's World Cup to be in Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
or Qatar. I think it was Saudi Arabia, was it?
I can't remember. They're talking about the Women's Club World Cup potentially being in Qatar.
Oh,
And obviously, yeah, like it's completely inappropriate. Like as like a queer woman myself, and lots of the footballers are queer, it's not safe and it's not appropriate for the players or the fans to be hosted there.
no. If I was in someone's position, like obviously, I'm not gay or queer, but I do have friends, like yourself and other people who belong in the LGBT group might not feel safe going in some countries they don't accept, what you believe in because
Mm-hmm.
in their culture, if you say you're lesbian, you're gay, they'll just throw you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really dangerous.
Yeah.
You can't show rainbow colors. You can't show like, one love armband because otherwise
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly to your point. I think like player safety and fan safety need to be at the center of any tournament conversation and thought process about where they are. And as Lauren has said, there's a lot of openly queer players, and a lot of the women's football community are openly queer, and it means that some parts of the world aren't safe for them to go to.
And Emily, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything that the girls have said. And a lot on this podcast, we spoke about how sport brings people together, and these countries can be quite divisive and difficult in doing that. So yeah, it's important that it's considered and looked at further, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, with a lot of things like, what we're gonna look forward to like in the next 5, 10 years down the line, with a large amount of games that women's are going to play compared to how the men's fixtures are now
Mm-hmm.
overloaded. I mean, to be honest, we got the Champions Cup that, some selected continental champions are taking part, and every first 3 or 4 years, with the fourth year being the Club World Cup, will be held in every fourth year of the cycle, and then it restarts again with 3 years of Champions Cup, and then another Club World Cup to take place in 4 years' time. Whether you put that on the top of that, thankfully the European Championship is not going to expand anytime soon, because it'd be like, the men's format have expanded a bit. To be honest, I just think, that the way things are going, I just think at one point, if you think the men's injuries is going to reach the peak capacity, what about the women's athletes? They're going to face it much more worse if they play a lot more games.
100%.
Yeah, especially if you add in other tournaments as well, like World Sevens, obviously. And again, like in a similar vein, like at the center of all of these decisions needs to be player safety. And so you either need to have bigger squads and more athletes available per club, or you can't play the number of fixtures that are expected. So yeah, it's a real kind of challenge, and I think a growing conversation in both the men's game and the women's game.
I mean, like, for example, if the World Cup in less than 5 months away, I don't think any of us is gonna wake up in the middle of the morning. If you want to watch Scotland, they get unfair advantage. What would the Scottish people would think?
Yeah,
it's a tough one. Real tough one.
Well, we love to carry on, but I think that brings everything to an end. So I like to thank you, Lauren, Emily, and Laura, for coming on.
Oh no, thank you so much, Johnny. Like, this has been incredible. I've never done a podcast before, so I was a little bit nervous, but you made it feel really kind of easy, and it's been lovely to chat to you. I've got a question for you. Do you know who your next guest is?
Oh, next guest. Well, it's secretly under wrap, but all to reveal soon.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, I know you're eager, but don't worry, you have to listen to this episode, which my next point to everyone listening is now you can listen back to this show when it's all edited. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Will be available shortly soon when they get this episode edited, so you can listen to the episodes along with the first 3, back to back, back to back, back to back. Wow. I don't know how many back to backs you can really do. But if you want to come on the next episode, that is Monday the 23rd of February. So I'm going back to Mondays this time. It's getting in touch on Instagram is Spice on the Hill, DHSCW, and on Twitter, X is just simply Spice on the Hill. Alternatively, you can email me, Johnny_Hourigan, that's HOURIGAN @hotmail.co.uk with the subject Spicy Podcast. And I'm your host, Johnny Hourigan, and I'll see you all next time on the 23rd of February. But don't worry, I'll reveal guests soon. If you want to tease, I'll put that in the teaser promotion advert. And remember, over the hills, wherever you are, let's keep it burning hot. Woo! A round of applause, round of applause.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, that's so good, Johnny. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in.